2 days from now, the window to file for statewide political positions in Oregon is going to open up. It's the beginning of the campaign season with lots of politicians hoping to win outright on the primary ballot, which takes place on May 21st of 2024. If not, the top two will go on to the November general election. There's lots of positions open, from Congress to district attorney, the attorney general, secretary of state, state treasurer, and a whole bunch more. And one of the politicians announcing tonight is hoping to make history. And that's our big story. Elizabeth Steiner, a medical doctor and key budget writer in the Oregon legislature, is going to run for state treasurer. Her official announcement will come tomorrow, but because you're the smartest news audience in the Northwest, you get to learn about it right now.
I am running for state treasurer.
Okay, and why?
I'm running because being treasurer in the right way can help Oregon be the strongest, healthiest state in the nation, which has always been my goal. As a family physician and as the state's chief budget writer for over 5 years now, I've seen the toll that financial insecurity can take on people, leading to physical and emotional, problems. Many Oregonians are one unexpected medical expense away from missing a car payment, losing their home, or not being able to pay for childcare. And if we can help Oregonians build financial security, we can prevent a lot of problems and break multi-generational cycles of poverty.
So that all sounds great, except I think most people, when they think of the treasurer's office, they think PERS and billions invested. They don't think personal savings. How?
Yeah, it's absolutely true that the treasurer is responsible for making sure that the public employee retirement fund is invested well and continues to grow, and so that we can meet our obligation for Oregon's retirees. In addition, the treasurer is also responsible for some very important savings programs, including what we call the college savings program, but it can also be used for any kind of post-high school education. It is also possible that we could develop other programs, voluntary programs that people could participate in to help them save for a rainy day, just as I've helped the state do.
Although it sounds simple, but if people had the money to save, it seems like they'd already be saving.
Well,
it's not that they don't have a program.
That's sort of true. And it's also true that most people don't have a lot of financial education. Most people have not been given the tools they need to make the right choices, the best choices for themselves and their families in the future.
Steiner is a Democrat. If elected, she would make history as the first woman to hold the office of state treasurer in Oregon. As I mentioned earlier, she started her professional life as a doctor. She said she loved being a family practice doctor, but then was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS, in 1994 and got very sick in 2001, which made it difficult for her to continue with family medicine. Instead, she got involved in other types of medicine, from clinic work to teaching medical students, and then eventually joined the world of politics, where she could influence health policy and fiscal policy. And she dug in deep. She's the lawmaker who walked us through the state budget during the last legislative session. She patiently explained the various budgets and different types of bonding. As a co-chair of the legislature's Budget Committee Ways and Means, she has a good grasp of how the money moves. Oregon's current treasurer is Tobias Reed. He will have to leave office at the end of next year because of term limits. Last year, he faced an effort by some lawmakers to force the Treasury to pull its pension money out of companies that are not green and good for the environment. I asked Steiner where she stood on that issue.
This is one of those truth lies in between questions, which is to say, I strongly support making Oregon and the whole world cleaner and greener and cooler, and reversing the impact of climate change. That means helping companies that are big polluters move towards cleaner technology. One of the ways you do that is to use your power as a shareholder, and the Treasurer is a big shareholder in a lot of these companies, to push them to make these green investments. And there are plenty of examples nationwide of investors pushing brown companies to move towards green technology.
And you think that's more effective than disinvesting?
Yeah, here's the problem. If you invest solely in green companies, they don't have a lot of room to cut their emissions. But if you invest in brown companies and push them to move toward clean technology, even a relatively small reduction in their emissions makes a big difference in the world. And so I think we need to think about that. It's also hard if, as Treasury does for the pension fund, You invest in index funds, for example, and you don't get to pick every stock that's in there. You don't get to say, well, I'll only invest in this fund if you pull out all the fossil fuel investments.
Now, we expect more candidates will be announcing soon. We'll be watching, and if there is another major candidate for treasurer, we're going to invite them to sit down as well. We want to also profile them to bring you the options that you'll have on the ballot in 2024 for the manager of the money here in Oregon.